everyone, so today we are doing a book review and discussion for July's book of the month, which was Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, I believe. I got that right. Yes. So I know I suck at getting these discussions out, but we're here, we're doing it today. All right, so what I think I'm gonna do, I've never done this before, is I think I'm gonna post 2 videos in a row. So if you're watching, you may be seeing 2 videos pop up. I'm gonna do the book discussion for Home Before Dark and then in one video, and then I'm gonna do a whole separate video on the August book club options, but that will be posted today as well. So if you see 2 videos pop up today, it's not a mistake. I did actually mean to do that. I don't know if it's risky or not, but we're gonna do it. So if you haven't been here for a book discussion before, normally what I do is a general review, like just kind of talk about the book a little bit and whether or not I liked it and whether I thought it was worth reading and just a couple of things that I noted, and then with no spoilers, and then I jump into the spoilers and we go all in and we talk about all the things that happened and reactions and all that kind of stuff. And then feel free in the comments to do your own review, to rate it if you want to, talk about what stood out to you, your favorite part of the book, why you loved it, why you didn't love it, all that kind of stuff you can mention down in the comments and we can discuss it and go back and forth. I just like to keep it pretty open because I feel like sometimes I ask questions and then I miss things and there were things you guys wanted to bring up. So I just like to keep it open so we can talk about all the things and all the reactions and how we felt about it. So yeah, you can go down in the comments and just start talking about the book if you want to, or I'm gonna kind of lead a little bit of a discussion. So if you want to follow that, that's cool too, whatever you want to do. So the book we read for July was called Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. And let me just get comfortable really quick. This is hard because I'm sharing a chair with my dog currently. All right, so basically the book was about a woman who has inherited a house that she lived in when she was a child briefly. And her father had written a whole book about this house and how it was haunted, and the book was really successful. So the daughter of the family who inherits the house, she doesn't remember a thing that happened in that house when she was growing up. She can't remember anything. She doesn't believe it. She doesn't think it was haunted. So when she's left with the house, she goes in to renovate it, first of all, because that's what she does for her job, is she renovates homes. So she thinks she can go in, renovate the home, and then sell it for a good profit. So as she goes into the home, all these things start unraveling and things happen, and you find out if the house is haunted, what went down, and if the story her dad told was true, or if her memory comes back and all the things. All right, so first of all, I was really excited about it because I love any kind of haunted house book, any classic haunted house story. And it sounded a lot like Haunting of Hill House, which is a book by Shirley Jackson, but it's also a series on Netflix if you've watched it. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it if you like haunted house movies or haunted house anything. But anyways, reading the description of Home Before Dark sounded a lot like Haunting of Hill House, and then it wasn't like Haunting of Hill House in my opinion at all. I really did enjoy this book. It's not nearly as deep as, say, Haunting a Hill House, in my opinion, which Shirley Jackson, the books I've read by Shirley Jackson, there's always this kind of deeper underlying message that's kind of dark, which I really love. But this one was more of like, if you take a psychological thriller like Riley Sager does, and then you mix it with Haunting of Hill House. But the thing I really liked about it is it had more of a spooky element than a lot of psychological thrillers and mysteries do. So it kind of has some classic horror scares as well as the great twists and turns of psychological thrillers. So it's a really good hybrid. So basically I say definitely read it, especially this time of year as we're entering into spooky season, or if you're like me and you like reading spooky things all year round and you just can't get enough of it. All right, so now that I gave it a little review, we're gonna get into the discussion, which means I'm getting into spoilers. So if you haven't read the book yet and you were just here for the review, go ahead and I'll give you a second and then go read this book because it's really good. I highly recommend it. All right, so go. I don't want to give away anything. All right, so what did we think of the book, Home Before Dark? Did you love it? Did you not love it? What'd you think? Was it scary enough? Was it not scary enough? I mean, I didn't think it was scary, but I thought it was the perfect amount of spooky, if that makes sense. Like there were some creepy crawly things and some spooky haunted house things that happened that I thoroughly enjoyed. I didn't like have to pull the covers over my head or anything. That kind of scared, but I did think it was effectively spooky. All right, so let's see what kind of notes I made. Let's see, what did I say? Did you think the story was fake from the beginning or anywhere throughout? Did you second guess the dad's story? Did you think it was true, especially as some things started to happen in the house? So I was kind of on a roller coaster when it comes to whether or not I thought the story was fake. So in the beginning, I think I was like, well, maybe it's real. And then I got to a point where I was like, maybe it's not. And then every time I would read his portion, the dad's portion of the story, I would come back to, well, maybe it is real. I just kept going back and forth with it. And that was kind of the fun of it, in my opinion, was not really knowing, and it's kind of playing with your head on, like, really the ultimate question was, what happened in that house, and were there ghosts? What was going on? All right, so then I have here the snakes in the ceiling, which was a whole level of, that's like that spooky element or that horror element that was kind of coming through, where it really, like, I don't know, it just makes your skin crawl a little bit. Well, snake coming and plopping into the coffee cup made my skin crawl a little bit, but also I love that it did that. You can tell me what you thought of that part. And then I have finding the bones. I have, did you think at that point Maggie's dad did it? And I don't know, I had a really hard time believing Maggie's dad did it. Like, something just didn't, like, anytime that people are suspecting somebody in a psychological thriller, I just already know. Maybe I'm just so jaded and this is not a good thing. I just always know that the person they're usually suspecting is not the person that did it. It's usually the person you're not suspecting that comes out of nowhere and you're like, what? That person? That's usually what happens with these books. So I definitely didn't suspect the dad. First of all, I didn't really feel the chemistry between Maggie's dad and Petra. Obviously I didn't feel like she was a kid, but I also just like wasn't even feeling that he was creeping on her. Like, I wasn't even really buying that. But I will tell you that I did think at one point that maybe they sacrificed Petra to save Maggie. Like, you know, the story about the dads killing their daughters in the house. But I thought if the dad did kill Petra, because I wasn't really getting the creepy vibes from him, I thought he was doing it out of, like, I gotta give somebody's daughter to this house ghost, or to this curse, I guess. And I'm not gonna give my daughter, so I'm gonna sacrifice this neighbor girl. I don't know why my mind went there, but I did. Okay. I don't know, I thought maybe it was still gonna go the ghost story route, but that's not what happened. Then I suspected her mom for a minute, especially how she was, like how she removed herself from the situation, how she didn't want to talk about it, how she acted at the brunch. I just thought she was kind of suspect, and how she was so adamant about buying that house for full price. I don't know, something about it. I was like, I don't know, could be the mom. Like, and this is what I said. She wants to buy the house full price now. Why didn't she want to buy it all those years ago? Like, why didn't she just go to her ex-husband and say, hey, I'll buy the house full price. I really don't want our daughter to end up there. I don't think it's good that she does, or whatever. Like, why didn't she try to buy the house before? Why now? I don't know, but I did suspect her mom before I suspected her dad. Just because her and her mom didn't seem to have much of a connection. Her mom seemed to be completely actually just disconnected in general, and kind of sketchy about her daughter not wanting her daughter to go there and buying the house. I did say this, which I guess my detective skills came in handy here. I said, is someone sneaking into the house or living there? This was pretty early. This is before I asked if they sacrificed Petra to save Maggie. But then I forgot all about that and didn't think about it until the end, really, because other things were going on. Okay. So then I thought for a second it was the newspaper reporter and journalist. So when Maggie went to go meet with the reporter and talk, like look up the old archives or whatever, and I remember the reporter said it was their big break reporting that murder that happened with the daughter and the suicide. And I remember being like, why is he bragging about this being his big break when it's something so tragic? Did the reporter maybe get something out of that? Like, feel like, oh, I gotta get this, like, I gotta keep up with this notoriety, or I gotta have this happen again. So maybe the reporter was going in the house and doing these things. I say here that the reporter was given a tour before the deaths, which makes me think like the reporter knew the house. The reporter had been in there and gotten a tour and then went in and did all of these things. That's what I thought. And then I wondered, my question was Petra and the reporter dating? But it ended up being Petra and the other dude, the house guy that she sent to jail for no reason. Okay, All right, so then I have here that the camera part with Indigo was spooky and I loved it. So the part of the story where they were taking the pictures and Indigo kept popping up and they like raced to the room and like all those things happened or whatever. But then I have next, the last thing I put is, oh my God, Marta. First of all, the trapdoor thing was so interesting with the back door coming through the armoire. I was like, oh my, I did not see that coming, but it was definitely a good twist. And Marta is the lady with the coins in her eyes, which I did not see coming. And then the coins on the eyes were actually glasses. The whole thing was just so good. And then she remembers that Marta is actually the one who murdered Petra because it was the lady with the coins over her eyes. And the whole ending, how it unraveled and how Marta's now dead, but Maggie is a whole mess. And then Petra's mom of all people, or Petra's ghost, or I don't know. There was like a whole lot going on there. It was a whole situation. I did not see that ending coming. I guess I just did not expect Marta. So yeah, the whole thing was spooky and had twists and turns and messed with your head a little bit. And you thought it was everybody and nobody at one point in time. And then it ended up being Marta, that lady. And then in the end, she's dead, and I was really sad. I don't know why, of all the things in the book I was sad about, but I wasn't really happy about the fact that it said Maggie redid the house and made it modern. I would have preserved it. It sounded really cool in my opinion, but what can you do? All right, so I just jabbed my jaws for so long. I hope you guys enjoyed the book though. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought. You can either respond to the things that I just discussed, or I'm sure I missed things. I miss things every single time we do these, especially because these books, like, you start reading it and then these good parts happen, and I don't know about you, but I read that part really fast because I get all excited. I'm like, ooh, and then I forget to make a note of it, or it leaves my brain after the explosion and my brain happens. Also, I want to mention really quickly, because I read the second book option for last month, which was Spare Room. I can't remember the author. I'll have it down in the description box, but Spare Room, I read it before I read Home Before Dark, and it was so good too. So good. And actually kind of ended up being a spooky house story in itself. It's a spooky house story in a very different way, but the twist and turn at the end of that book, if you haven't read it, Spare Room. If you read it and you want to talk about it in the comments, I'm so down, because that book, whoa. It was whoa. I may have liked the twist and turn better in Spare Room than Home Before Dark. I hate to say that. They're totally different, but I was just completely blown away by the twist and turn in Spare Room. Anyways, hope you enjoyed July's book of the month, and hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up. Say hey ghoul hey down in the comments, because you know I love talking to you. Also, just chat it up, whatever you want to discuss about this book. I'm totally open. You don't even have to respond to my questions, because I know my discussions are a little all over the place, because I tend to just, like, when something stands out to me, I'm like, blah, this. So whatever it is that you want to talk about, go for it in the comments. Also, don't forget, August book club should be up as well. So if you're wanting to know the picks for August, go ahead and watch that video. Either maybe you watched it before this, or maybe you're gonna watch it after this. And I'm really excited for the books for August. So yeah. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.